So many stars, so many secrets.
Not long ago, even the near moon was far from chase.
Today, man is preparing his first interplanetary flight. Already launched missiles and satellites. These space explorers follow to the upper atmosphere and transmit valuable scientific information by radio. The great Russian scientist Alexander Stepanovich Popov was the first to use radio for scientific measurements. Simple was the first machine, he only answered the storm's approach. In developing Popov's ideas, the Soviet scientist Silchinov created the world's first radio umbrella. The design of the radio probe is very simple, a combination of radio transmitters. The device measures the pressure, gap, and the temperature of the air. The temperature sensor of the bimetallic plate, when exposed to cold or heat, deforms and moves the arrow to contact. Encrypts all the devices. The signal alarms are ending in the switchboard. And the readings of the measuring equipment in the form of wire packages are broadcast on radio Zond. This is the first practical application of radio telemetry, distance transmission techniques. The challenges of radio telemetry have become inordinately complicated by the development of rocket research into the upper atmosphere. New long-distance measurement systems have been created. In all cases of radio scientific data transmissions, the non-electrical values shall be converted to electrical values. This is done by means of telemetric sensors. The temperature sensor is a small semiconductor device. They're sensitive to the slightest temperature change. The sensor YAPO's weak electrical signal is enhanced and, using the frequency module, converts temperature changes into changes in the frequency of the sound generator. How do you hear the temperature? And, of course, it's on the radio. Geological exploration of space. For late friends who don't know, the first rocket passengers a piece of the tank. Asshole. A play by the sensor. The device is very sensitive. Remember the birth control, he's working on the same principle. Because of the sensor, you can measure the pulse, and now let's give the dogs a pulse. Some physical pressure. The physical strain affects the heart, first and foremost, at work. Notice the pulse. At the same time, the temperature can be measured. If a familiar pattern replaces the frequency unit with pulse time, then the scientific measurements we have collected can also be transmitted in this form. By sending test animals into flight, they wear a special vest with metric sensors for comprehensive biological research. The readings of many sensors for air are collected by a mechanical or electronic switchboard.
This is to ensure that individual scientific measurements from different instruments can be transmitted by one radio channel in turn. The electrical signals from each sensor are tested and emitted by a transmitter in the form of wire packages.
Radio signals received on Earth are deciphered and returned to the switchboard, which is exactly the same as the transmitter's actions. This is done to separate the readings of many devices. On the screen of the oscillograph, the radio can always be seen and filmed for further decryption. Soviet masters of space have their own story. The SSSR exhibition of the achievements of the people's economy shows the implementation of the most courageous ideas in the fields of missile technology, electronics, radio, and telemetry. Here they are, the first space explorers, the Soviet artificial Earth satellites first. 2. Our satellites carry the third sophisticated equipment. Telemetric sensors study the composition of the ionosphere, solar radiation, the Earth's magnetic field, and produce many other scientific observations. Okay, research on the upper atmosphere. It brought Soviet science to the threshold of new discoveries. The first working day of the historic 7-year anniversary was the launch of a space rocket towards the moon. Ten will be friendly and unfriendly. Surprising, considerate, but equally excited, were closely following the missile's flight. Who the dog was walking the first Soviet spaceship. When the new space laboratory left the planet, it sent radio signals. Further scientific information. How could you remain indifferent? On January 3, a rocket formed an artificial comet at an altitude of 113 miles 13.0 on a given program. Press reports, radios these days were full of exciting news. Every Soviet man put a piece of his heart into this unprecedented space flight. Finally, the radio has produced a long-awaited annoyance on January 4th and 5 hours and 59 minutes. As part of its scientific research program, the space rocket passed in close proximity to the moon. Oh, God damn it. The artificial planet has become a monument to Soviet science's penetrating weak achievements.